This video is going to be about the Chumash number system. But before we can learn about their number system, we should have a basic understanding of their history. The Chumash Indians' first settlement was over 13,000 years ago, near Santa Barbara coast in California. At one point, their territory stretched 7,000 square miles. In the picture to the right, it shows the different areas of where different Chumash Indian groups lived. They consider themselves as the first people and thought of the Pacific Ocean as their home. Chumash can be translated into bread maker and seashell people. The Chumash Indians had it better than the rest of the Indian tribes in California because they were able to get their resources and goods from both the land and the sea. They were hunters, gatherers, and fishermen. They really depended on the world around them. They also believed the sun was their father. They would have several days of feasting and dancing to honor him. The following pictures are showing what typical celebrations would look like. The Chumash Indians lived in large dome-shaped homes that were made of willow branches. As many as 50 people could live in one single home. To separate rooms, they would hang mats from the ceilings. And the picture shown is the style of what the homes of the Chumash Indians would live in. They also built boats and thought of themselves as the finest boat builders. Many other Indian tribes didn't know how to build boats because they weren't near a large body of water, so it wasn't necessary. So the Chumash Indians took lots of pride in their ability to build boats since it wasn't common amongst the other Indian tribes. Also, they considered themselves as very advanced in making baskets, stone cookware, and the ability to harvest and store food. In the picture shown, you can see two different types of baskets. The one on the left is what they would usually store their food in, and the one on the right is typically what they would use during a meal to display the foods on. They spent a lot of time in making them, and they focused particularly on the design and the details. Women were not thought of as inferior to men. They could serve as chiefs and priests. If a chief or priest were to die, their son or daughter could inherit the responsibilities and roles. The Chumash Indians believed that the world was at a constant change and would mark these changes down. Before making a decision, they would go back and look at the charts they created before they made the decision. They would also draw on cave walls during religious ceremonies. They used red, orange, and yellow pigments to draw human figures and animal life. When drawing, they used a technique of putting dots around the figures to make them clearer. The paintings you see are what the Chumash Indian drawings look like. The caves and drawings are now protected so they are not harmed. The Chumash Indians did not wear much. As you can see in the picture, the women would wear deerskin skirts and aprons, and the men sometimes wore deerskin capes. The Chumash Indians were omnivores, meaning that they ate what they could get their hands on, which was mainly meat and fish. They also ate berries, corn, rats, crows, and insects. They had mainly 3 types of weapons to catch food with and also as protection. The weapons were a knife, the bow and arrow, and the tomol. They used the bow and arrow mainly to catch their wildlife, and the tomol, which was used in the ocean fishing and to travel back and forth between coastal towns. If someone were to become ill, they had people called shamans who took care of them, which were like their doctors. However, they believed that disease resulted from a person's spiritual state, so they would concentrate on healing their spirit. In this picture, it is showing what a typical shaman would look like. Chumash Indians, we can now learn about their number system.
As we transfer into the number system, we find that it was very difficult to comprehend for the missionaries, so almost all of their number system was lost. They would put tally sticks between their fingers to count, like so. Therefore, they had a base of 4. They did that because they didn't want to be limited by the base number of 10. Here are the first 16 basic numbers and the number 20, which help to make up all the other numbers. Number 1, Pakit. Number 2, Eshkom. Therefore, they had a base of 4. They did that because they didn't want to be limited by the base number of 10. Here are the first 16 basic numbers and the number 20, which help to make up all the other numbers. Number 1, Pakit. Number 2, Eshkom. Number 3, Maseg. 4, Skumu. 5, Itapakeg. 6, Yedishkom. 7, Itmaseg. 8, Malahua. 9, Etspa. 10, Kashkom. 11, Telu. 12, Maseg Skumu. 13, Maseg Skumu Ken Pakit. 14, Eshkom Chihu Chigspush. 15, Pakit Chihu Chigpush. 16, Chigpush. 20, Skumu Hui. So here are the basic 16 numbers and the number 20, which make up the rest of the numbers. For example, let's start off with talking about the number 12. So as you can see, it's Maseg Skumu, which is actually the numbers 3 and 4. So if you put the space in between them, this actually translates to 3 times 4, which equals 12. Another one would be 13. So one basic thing we should know is that the word chihu actually means lacking from. And that the word can means and. So, for example, the number 13, Miseg Skumu, which is 12 right here, and the word can, and then 1, which is Pakit. So it'd be 12 and 1. So 12 plus 1 equals 13. And then the number 14 uses the word chihu, which would be Eshkom, which is 2. So Eshkom, so 2 lacking from, and then this is 16. So this has basically 16 minus 2 equals 14. And then the same thing with 15. It would just be 1 lacking from 16. So 16 minus 1 equals 15. If we get a little bit more complicated, such as numbers that aren't on here at all, if we go to 18, so we don't have anything, so you can use the number 20. So if you do what's 20 minus 18 is 2, so it would be 2 lacking from 20. So that would be Eshkom Chihu, which is lacking from, and then 20. So this really translates into 20 minus 2, which equals 18. Also, using the word can instead of chihu, the number 17 would be 16 plus 1. That's the easiest way to get to 17. So it would be 16 and, which is can, and then 1 is Pakit. Also, like the number 12, for example, the number 30, you can do the same thing. Just by putting 2 words next to each other, the most basic way to multiply them. So 30, the most basic way would be 16 times 2. So Eshkom Chikipsh. So this would be 2 times 16, which equal, that's not right. 32. My apologies, to be 32, not 30. 2 times 16 is 32. So basically their number system, there's no symbols to it. It is just these words that make up different numbers. So you can go as far as you'd like. So like 40 would be 20 times 2, so just be Eshkom Skumuhoy, and basically from there. So now that you know a little bit about the Chumash Indians, we hope you learned a little bit about their history and you know more about their number system. Thank you.